What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I wanted to detail how I went from zero to over $25,000 trading stocks in about 16 months. So my Webull account is now pulled up here on the screen, so we can see that I'm currently sitting at $27,785.51. Now, a week ago, it was actually under 25K, and I just crossed over. So if you missed yesterday's video, I talk about the stocks I traded last week and some of the top stocks that I'm watching into next week. And a brief background, if you're someone who doesn't know who I am and what I like to trade, I pretty much trade penny stocks. Now, I will trade anything I want if I see a good opportunity, but I like trading oversold penny stocks with catalyst, stocks that have solid risk-reward ratios, and these stocks have potential to make you 20, 30, 40+% on a given trade. Whereas if you're to park your money in an index fund or into the overall market, yeah, maybe you'll average somewhere between 7 to 12% per year, depending upon dividends and things like that. But I'm looking to outpace that significantly. So what I want to do here in this video is detail kind of step by step how I got to this point, what it took to get here, and a lot of the things that I've learned along the way for someone especially who's starting out, or even if you are someone who's looking to make the next jump up and you're struggling in kind of being consistent. I hope there's some that you can get out of this video. So if you wouldn't mind making sure you're jumping down, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that thumbs up button, that is all I ask. The best part about my channel here, and that's what I pride myself on, at least recently, is that at the end of the video, I don't have, a course for you to buy. I don't have a group for you to join and pay monthly. I try to keep everything free. At the end of the day, if we can make money, if we can do things here on this channel, and I can help you in some way, all I really ask is for a thumbs up, and we're going to be just fine here. If we can make money trading, we don't need to do the extra stuff, right? That's kind of how I see it. So real quick, penny stocks, people think they're scams. Go back and check out my past videos after this, and you guys can see they're not scams. I have a video explaining why trading penny stocks are not scams. Are they the best companies? No. It's fine. We can still trade them. That's what I do. Just like options, just like anything else, Forex, whatever you want to talk about, crypto, you can trade it and you can make money once you learn the game, and that's what it's all about. So now I want to take you guys through kind of my account startup, how it got started, and really kind of the process of getting to 25K, because it didn't obviously happen overnight. It took about 16 months. September of 2019 is when I started this account. If we go back and I pull up my Webull account on my phone, we go back to December 2019, I had no money in the account, and then we look at the account and it had like 14 bucks. Why did I have 14 bucks? Free stocks. When you sign up to Webull, you get 4 free stocks right now. So there's a link down below in the description of this video. You can check it out. That's the platform. That's the app we have. That's what's on the screen behind me. That's Webull. Then we see the account actually went negative. I think that was because a weird cash thing that I had a margin account and I was actually overextended upon my cash. But we had 270 bucks, 265 bucks at one point. And then dropping down to about 2. So we actually lost a few bucks at the beginning of this. And then we hit over 300 bucks soon after. Let's start there. What happened? I initially funded my account. Now I say I put 300 bucks in, I actually put a little bit less. I put about $200 and 250 bucks in, plus the free stocks, and that's how I got started with my account. And so I started trading penny stocks. Had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was in college. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try this and see what happens, because I had recently been getting more into trading. I was like, hey, I'm trading options. I was trading other large cap stocks, and I wanted to get more into this and establish something that's more consistent. And options, for me at least, they were less consistent in how I traded them and kind of how my mind worked, how everyone's going to find what works best for them. And so for me, options, I'll still trade them here and there, but on a consistency scale, I'm not a huge fan of them. So I deposit some money into the account, and then at that point, I started trading. And I really didn't deposit any more money in the account, and we can see how this account starts to grow in the first few months. Now, what I think was the first the big stage of the account was when we got into the Thanksgiving period in 2019. I remember I was with family for Thanksgiving. We go back to that period. We go from 300 to 500 to 700 real quick. So the account almost doubles, in a matter of like a couple weeks. And that's when I started trading these stocks. I didn't know what I was doing. I was losing some money, making a few bucks, this, that, and the other thing. And then I had a couple big winners. If I go back and I tell you guys what they were, it was ticker symbol SFET, still trades to this day. Now, when I say that, it's funny because a lot of penny stocks, you'll actually look back after a couple years and say, oh, these stocks are no longer listed. That's just the nature of the game. You can still make money on them. But I was in SFET, and they drop a press release. The stock spikes up like 100%. Now, at the time, I may have had $100 in SFET. I may have had 150 bucks. I made $150 on my account size, like boom, just like that, overnight, waking up like it was the Friday after Thanksgiving or something like that. Crazy. And I was like, what is going on? This is nuts. And that week, actually, that Thanksgiving week, it was a shortened week, right? Trading week, but there were some crazy runs. And you traditionally see, they call like turkey runners, or whatever you want to call them, some crazy penny stock movements, in during that week, some crazy runs. And so that really was the switch at that point. And I had not really deposited much money. All I really had going was my referral link. So I was still making YouTube videos at the time, but they weren't really trading focused. They were kind of just personal finance related. And I had the link. I would make a couple of trading videos here and there. And so if someone signed up, I get a free stock. I get a $12 free stock here, a free stock there. And that's kind of how my account started to slowly kind of grind up in addition to some trading profits. Then I got to the point saying after that Thanksgiving run, we got into December and I was like, you know what, here, we broke over $1,000. I started to slowly deposit some money. And here comes like the first big point that I want to make when it comes to all this stuff. And why I say this, I think it's actually really, really important. It's that on top of compounding the gains, I absolutely am a huge proponent of adding money to your account. Do not just think that if you have $1,000, let me put $1,000 into my account right now. No, I don't recommend doing that. And why? Why do I not recommend doing that? Well, because when you put $1,000 into your account, now you're just starting out, you're going to have to go through the learning curve. It's not easy. And 90% of people end up quitting or failing, right? Losing money. So you go through this learning curve, you're going to lose, and most will drop off. Most will quit, right? It's a matter of sticking through that. And so how do you stick through that? How do you kind of prolong this? How do you prolong your game? How do you keep yourself in the game? Because in the initial stages, I think it's more about staying afloat rather than making money. And so I slowly started adding a couple $100 as I had some money available from working and whatnot. So I had a few bucks, I deposit, X% into my account. So I started to add money to my account as time went on. And if I had a few extra dollars, I would add that money into the account little by little. So it's starting to compound the account. So now we start pushing the account up. We're into January. We have less than $1,500. So literally 1 year ago, we were sitting with under $2,000 in the account. And today we're at $27,000. So how do we get to that next stage? Well, here's where as the account grows, you start sizing up. As your account grows, you size up and you fit your style. So for me, my style works where 10% of my account is a max position size. I will not go above that level. So then as my account grows, my max position size, just number-wise, will grow. It's still 10%, but it's now growing. So now, one of the things I'm struggling with now, which I'm getting better at, is that if my account's at over $25,000, my max position size can be over $2,000. And for the most part, I don't take too many trades where I have never really been in a trade where I'm over $2,000 in on this stock. That's something that I have to mentally get over. But that brings me into the biggest piece is that I was learning in this time period this is the biggest part. It's like 75% mental. Now we'll talk about technicals here as well, but it's 75% mental. And many times what I say is that when you're coming into a trade, you'll see if the market starts pulling back and all of a sudden your stock starts dropping and you panic sell and you take your money out, this is like the best representation of the mental aspect, I think. Look at this, right? Stock starts dropping, all of a sudden it's crashing down. Mentally, you're like, I gotta sell, I gotta take my profits, or I gotta minimize my loss. You do that. Many times it's an overreaction. You look back. Maybe in the moment you feel good about selling because you're out, but you look back and you look at your stock that you were in, and it just happened to me actually the other day. And I look back and say, hey, I sold it at 58 cents. I'm sitting here in the after hours, taking a step back. Things have quieted down. Things aren't as crazy. The stock's at 65 cents. I ended up buying back. So how do you mentally, what happened? You panic sell into the fear, right? You end up selling the bottom many times. Of course, every situation is different. You sell the bottom and then it comes back up and you buy it back in higher. Where you, at the end of the day, where you could have turned that mental stop loss that you sold, turn that into a limit buy. You buy more shares there. You average down. Literally, if you felt uncomfortable holding that many shares, in a couple of minutes, or let's say a couple hours later, you were able to flip that for 5-10%, just like that, from 58 cents to 65 cents. And instead of panic selling, you change your mindset to looking to buy the fear. And that's where you turn yourself into that top 10%. Now, doing that consistently is what I say. It's very difficult, but that's one of the biggest things I have learned is that mental aspect and understanding that you buy the fear and you sell into the greed. When you do that, you're putting yourself ahead of 90% of people who think it's so much easier to buy the green days. And then when the second there's some red days, they always talk about buy the dip, it's the best. But when it comes down to actually buying the dip, are you willing to buy the dip? And most people aren't. So now we're kind of moving along and things start going. And really we hit the kind of the Corona trader time period. So I was doing this before that. And I had more gains, honestly, in terms of percentage wise before that. Then we get to March, we actually held up pretty well through the crash in March. And then we started pushing up. And then we got into a lot of the times where crazy runs. Stocks have run 100% off of any, COVID-related news. And so that was a crazy time period, but we slowly started stacking the wins. And at the same time, I'm still doing what I said. I'm getting a couple free stocks from referrals here, so I'm adding a couple dollars per month. At the end of the day, I'm also adding a couple dollars per month of my own money if I have it. Also, one of the cool things that I did do when I had a decent jump, I think it was back in June, when I went from like 6,000, I think, or very quickly from 6 to 9, or 6,000 to 10,000. So when schools, when they went down, I think the second half of the second semester my senior year, I was technically living like in an apartment on campus. And so if you guys can go back and check out my old videos, and I'm like in that apartment, it's kind of funny. They ended up refunding some of the living expenses because we were no longer there because of the pandemic. And so I got like $3,000 in refunds, and I just put that, I don't think I put the whole thing into the account, but I put a good chunk of that money into the trading account like right away, just to compound it. So like I was one example of kind of like a lucky situation, although at the end of the day, I still got to pay that, like I got the money refunded, but I had a loan. So technically I still got to pay the money back, but I put it in here and I'm compounding the gains more and more. So it made more sense for me to put a good chunk of that money in there. But again, same type of thing. We're compounding gains. We're making money. We're trading profits are going up. We're also now adding to the account, increasing the position sizing, and things are just slowly adding up. Like I like to say, pennies are adding up. I'm not swinging for the fences here. I'm taking my 25, 30% plays and I'm adding them up. And if you guys want to see a better representation of how I do it, go back to my swing trading playlist. Go back to my recent videos. I talk about kind of how my strategy works, and we're going through all this stuff. That's what we do here every single week. All the videos I make, I try to be helpful in going through my strategy, stocks I'm watching, things like that, how I'm adding these things, how I'm stacking the small wins. Now what I want to do is go to my performance here really quick to show you guys the P&L all time. So we're nearly $13,000 in cumulative P&L. And so in the past 16 months, what I want to share is that in the past 16 months, I have made $12,906.14, but also a 779.26% return on my money. Now, if you do the math, that percent return is actually calculated on the money that I have invested. So take the total amount of money that I've invested, okay, of my own, and then compound the profits on top of that. The profits, that profit percentage is that 700%. So it's actually the reality of the account. The account's up thousands of percent from the initial starting point, but it's not it's calculating the percent profit that I've made off of money that now I have invested. So it's not talking about, hey, oh, you added 100% to your account by depositing, X number of dollars. Oh yeah, your account's up 100%. That's not what it's doing. It's just profits. This is just compounding the profits. So now we're gonna get into some of the strategy that I talk about here and what I do. But really quick, what I want to talk about was the technical side. So like I said, it's 75% mental, 25% technical. I have some videos talking about technicals. I have a couple videos on technical indicators, and I really think those are helpful videos here on the channel because that is like the biggest thing with penny stocks. Like I said, they're not the stocks that you trade. I trade them. I don't invest in a lot of these companies. Some of them, sure. But a lot of them, they're traded. And so I'm in and out. I'm not worried about these stocks like, for the long term. It's a couple weeks max time frame, and that's it. And I mostly swing trade. So it's not a day trade. And if you day trade, you can compound so much faster. As I'm noticing, you can compound way faster than this. But the technicals, it's all about risk reward for me. So before I enter any trade, I'm saying, hey, I have an X% downside risk. Let's say it's 10, 15%. I'm looking for profit targets that are 30, 40, 50% above the current price levels. Does that make sense to me? Yes. I will take that risk reward every single time. And especially you throw a catalyst in there or you throw money flow anticipation. That's one of the biggest things. Money flow anticipation has been huge for me. So we're noticing right now, right, we're going through different kind of waves. EVs are hot, clean energy's hot, this is hot, Bitcoin plays are hot, cannabis plays are hot. And so if you can anticipate the money flow before it gets there and find the stocks that are sitting low before the attention hits them, before traders start finding them, that's the biggest thing. So it takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of researching some of these stocks, and I show you guys how to do that here on the channel all the time. That's huge. That has been massive for me going forward, and in terms of making and finding the penny stocks that are going to run next. Like what's going to go next? You find it before it happens. One of the biggest plays was PPSI, a generator company before a large hurricane made landfall here in the US. Before it got going, before it really kind of got all the media attention, a couple days out before it hit, that was when I'm buying PPSI. Before the storm's really strengthening, I'm seeing, hey, this thing is going to get stronger. I'm looking at forecasts, things like that. This thing is going to get stronger. This is going to get pretty hot. The PPSI play went from $1.50 to $9+. Absolutely incredible run. But it's about the money flow anticipation to get in early before the attention's there. Now, one of the things I say is pennies add up. Like I say, I play a lot of penny stocks. I'm in them, I'm out of them, I'm in quick, I'm out quick, I'm doing this, and I'm taking my money. I'm not swinging for the fences. If the stock runs over 30% off of no news, and I didn't take any profits, I slap myself a little bit and say, hey, make sure you take some money here. There's another play. We can always move on to the next one. If this runs, so what? Let's take some money. Let's leave a few shares on if I think it's going to keep going. But let's make sure we take our profits and lock something in. Never going to go broke taking profits. And that's one of the biggest things. You probably hear it all the time, but I think it's massive. It's easy to get caught up in the hype on certain stocks, and I don't get caught up in that stuff. I'm not here to try to hype things up for you guys. When I make top penny stock videos, we're talking about some money flow. We're talking about what sectors are hot. We're not talking about the next best penny stock that might go from $1 to $10 in the next year. That's fine. That's a different type of trading. I don't generally do too much of that. But if you were to do some of that, I think is pretty cool. So we go back to my past week, right? We're up $2,764.80. 11% account growth. I could have done better because I need to do better of sizing up, which I didn't really do too much this past week. So there were some mistakes there. But one of my goals that I've said in the past, if you guys are one of the OGs that was here when I talk about this, 5% per week. Goal. That's what I want to do. If I can do 5% per week, if I can grow my account on average 5% per week, let me just go through some of the numbers here without adding any money to your account. If you don't add any money, if you just start with $300 and you do 5% per week and you kind of grow into that, and of course, you'll have better weeks, you'll have worse weeks, you're going to have red weeks. It's not going to be perfect. But this past week, up 11%. I said I can do better. I know I can do better. But 11%, maybe on the higher end, right? Maybe on kind of like the outlier to the upside. But if you can average 5% per week, here's the math. In 1 year, you can take $300 to $3,600. Now, initially, right, it's tough to see that number. And if you're someone saying, hey, everyone's got $100,000 in their account, everyone's got, 25K in their account, I can't day trade. Get a cash account because you don't have to worry about day trades. Biggest thing there too, when I switched from a cash account, from margin to cash under 25K, I saw so much more consistency because I was not worried about taking a day trade here. I knew I could take a day trade. You have to just worry about settled cash, but I always never trade with my full account size. I trade with smaller portions, and so I always have cash ready to go. So that's kind of how I do it personally. So get a cash account, switch your account from margin to cash if you're under 25K. But if you go 5% per week, now of course I'm saying 52 weeks in a year. Of course, I know there's some trading days we're off. So this is just a rough idea. 5% per week turns $300 to $3,600 in 1 year. Go the next year, you do 5% a week again. Now, of course, take into account, if you do that the first year, I'm sure you can probably do better the second year because things, of course, you get better. You start to see things a little bit easier. You can turn $3,600 to $43,000 by the second year. And then by the third year, you can take $43,000 to over $500,000. Now, I know that might sound ridiculous, and I know also 3 years may sound ridiculous, but at the point that I'm currently at, I'm almost, I guess, like halfway to that 3-year point, and we're seeing kind of the compound effect here. We're seeing how things work, and I'm still adding some money to my account as I can. If I get free stocks, that compounds into my account as well. So you see how this progression works. And of course, everyone wants to get to 25K. They want to get to 100. They want to get to $1 million. They want to hit these numbers so fast. But if you just sit back and realistically think about what you need to do to get there and say, you know what, if in 3 years I can go from $300 to $500K, doing it, consistent, looking for consistency, you hit 500K. Your trades now, if you keep up at that pace, and maybe you don't, but maybe you do, and I'm sure you're getting better and you're improving your strategies, but at that point, it doesn't matter anymore. You've reached a point where, you were so concerned, oh, I'm not making money, I got to do this. Now, 500K, you can make a trade and make $10,000 in a trade, and it essentially be nothing, right? Like, you've had probably better trades. Like, if I was to take that PPSI trade, right, and I looked at it last year and said, I didn't really make this much money, right? But at the end of the day, I was like, well, next year, I'm going to crush that trade. I'm going to make 10K on that trade, right? How does that make sense? Well, okay, I only had, X number of dollars in my account. Maybe it was 15,000, right? So my size of my trade, I made like $800. Cool. But that's how I did it. Now, next year, I'm going to be with a larger account size. I'm going to take that trade with more size. And of course, I have more conviction. So I'm getting better at knowing when to kind of size up, when to go a little bit heavier on a trade. When I don't like the setup too much, maybe I scale back, but I think it has potential, I scale back. But on stuff like that, conviction trades, I'm willing to go in with my 10% of my account, my full position size, and I'm willing to ride that thing for a little bit more because I've seen it happen. I've seen it again and again, and then you can get more confidence, and that's how you improve. And that's where I say 5% per week, you can do better. This past week, I did 11%. I now can say, hey, I know I can do more than 11%. I know I can do 15, 20% on good weeks. Of course, every week's going to be different, but when stuff like this happens, you got to take advantage of that. And I know as you grow and as you improve, you will certainly be able to do so. So that said, hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you are not already subscribed here, make sure you do so. That's all I ask. Subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up button. We are doing a challenge from 15,000 to 100,000 in 1 year. I started in September of 2020. So we're currently at 27K. We still got many months to go. Make sure you stick around. That was yesterday's video from when I'm posting this one. So every single Saturday, we go over my account. We do the next episode in the series. We go through kind of the progression, what we're looking at, and the top stocks we're watching for next week. Make sure you tune into those videos. Go back and check out some of my other swing trading videos if you want to learn about how my style works, how I generally swing trade. And I'm going to have many more videos coming out in the next couple of weeks going over all these things, hopefully helping you guys, hopefully improving your own trading. I appreciate you for watching, and make sure to grab 4 free stocks with Webull. That's this platform. That was the app I had up on my phone. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.